The world of gourmets has no limits, but sometimes it goes too far.
Caramelizes down, it's super fragrant and very sweet. That's going to literally give that wonderful...
Watch a man eat anything and everything he encounters, no matter how ugly it is. So, is Re-Monster worth watching? Re-Monster is a Isekai fantasy show. It's about a man who died and was reborn in the body of a goblin in a very game-like world. Everyone has a system and everyone can level up. This comes with classes, jobs, skills and races. And when the monster reaches level 100, the system allows them to evolve into a stronger creature. Tomokui Kanata, now known as Goburou, is reborn as one of the weakest and usually ugliest standard mobs, a goblin. But life offers a way out and lets them level up and evolve into a stronger species. And he doesn't waste any time at all. Not even a week after he was born, he already goes out hunting for food. He grows from a weak loner into a strong being and ends up unifying his little goblin community. With him as the leader, they start to train and grow. Other races being incorporated into their group as they fight and end up forming a mercenary company. They travel the country, take on jobs, and fight monsters and people, of course, while also eating them. The pacing is very fast and the storytelling happens by following his days, so we see what he is up to on a specific day. Tone-wise, I put this show more towards the have a good time style of Isekai than the serious high-stakes style. It's a fun ride, glossing over the details and intricacies with action and adventure, and some good fun moments. Currently the show has only one season with 12 episodes are 20 minutes, but since I read the manga and later on the light novel version, I know that there's enough content for at least 2 or 3 more seasons. And since the first season was released from April to June 2024, who knows, maybe there will be more seasons. So, Goburou is the main character. He was reborn from another world where superpowers are normal. There he was an Esper with a devouring ability that allowed him to consume his enemies and thus learn their skills and abilities and use them. And when he was reborn, he managed to keep this special ability, which means he can still learn all abilities from anything he eats. And that is, of course, what he gets right to doing.
Escape.
He's a fighting maniac and wants to consume any creature he meets to learn their skills. And he doesn't just have a big mouth, he has the skills to back it up. So he fights and gets especially excited when he meets a new, strong enemy. Eventually he evolves into an ogre, and everyone panics at the sight of him. So he has to prove that he really is him, and it's pretty silly how they depicted it. Later on he got an enchanted knife so he could intimidate enemies, but it just looks silly when compared to his size. But it also shows that he isn't a mindless killing machine that will kill just for the sake of killing. He took the knife so he does not have to kill. But of course, he too has a limit of patience. As for his personality, he is smart and hardworking. He also really likes booze and he's willing to take on jobs he wouldn't have taken otherwise just because they offer him some good drinks. And one thing I do find important to say is that he gets tons of skills, and I mean hundreds, because he gets everything from all he eats. The issue is, you never really see many of them get used, and he just gets so many that you simply forgot which ones he even has. And I think that's a shame, but I also really don't know how else they could have done that. His best friend is Kichi, who starts as Gobukichi and then becomes Ogakichi as he too evolves. They were born in the same batch and started up hunting right away. Kichi is more of a meathead and a frontline assault tank. He believes in great strength, and you can see that in his evolution. He sees Ogaro as his rival and he wants to defeat him because he wants to be a true friend who can stand by his side as an equal. That is his drive for getting stronger, and I think it's quite understandable. There are more side characters, named ones, with distinct personalities, but due to the pacing and the presentation of show, they all get rather little screen time and thus end up one-dimensional. And because I know some people are really not fans of this, yes, this is a harem story. The main character has multiple women, and I do think they could extremely have profited from more time to flesh out their characters. I mean, you don't even learn their names until quite late into season 1. Monster clearly doesn't have the highest budget, and you can feel that in some scenes. But it usually looks good enough, and it has moments I would call above average, like the first fight against an orc. It also doesn't shy away from blood and violence, which is a good thing. It fairly often uses stills with panning and voiceovers, again, probably because of a low budget, but I don't think it's that super detrimental. The voice work is also fine, as you would expect from a Japanese show, which seems like I say in every single episode because they always do a good job.
そうか俺は
The intro and outro both have some spoilers. Watching them right away won't ruin your experience, but it will tell you some events that will happen only later on. It's not a super big deal, but I would recommend skipping them in the beginning. Otherwise, they're fine, and I would say middle of the line, but nothing outstanding. On my anime list, it was rated 6.55 by about 87,000 users, and among other reviews, it has 16 recommended, 31 mixed feelings, and 50 not recommended. And I see where they're coming from. Many talk about missed potential, of pacing, and how they really didn't like the harem part. And yeah, I can understand them. Monster was made by Studio Dean, which actually made some pretty high profile and popular stuff like Fate Stay Night and Konosuba. And while I'm not the biggest fan of Fate Stay Night, I always liked the animation. It's just the story I didn't enjoy, or rather the main character. And Konosuba is one of my favorites of all time. But then again, they were also responsible for the 4th season of 7 Deadly Sins, and I think that show took a pretty big dip with the beginning of season 4. But who is this show for? I would describe it as the McDonald's of anime. It's not bad at all and it's satisfying enough, but it doesn't play in the big league. If you like Isekai or monster stories where the MC isn't ever torn up about not being a human anymore and rejecting his new nature, then I would say you are the target audience. It's not the greatest of anime, and I'm sure it will be kicked out of the top 9 fairly soon. But if you don't have stellar expectations and you're just looking for a fun show to pass the time, then I will say yes, you should watch Monster. So, does this go into the top 9 of recommendations? Yes, even though it takes just last place. And some recommendations for similar shows. The first, Overlord. It's about the guy who played a deep dive game for years with his friend and built up the strongest guild in it. But over time they drifted apart and he's the only one left playing this game. So now the shutdown of the game was announced and he decided to sit out the last minutes until the server goes out. He should get locked out automatically at midnight, but why is the clock still ticking? And why is he still in the game? And Goblin Slayer. It's about a boy who lost everything to a horde of goblins, but he survived. He has nothing left to lose, but he wants to drag down as many goblins with him as he can. He is the Goblin Slayer, and killing goblins is what he does best. He used to fight alone, but somehow a party starts forming around him, and he starts thinking maybe having a party isn't so bad. As long as he can still fight goblins, of course. And with that, thanks again for watching. And tell me down in the comments if you're interested in Remonster, or what you thought about it if you've already watched it.